Hello everyone, I'm Vivek Agarwal. I'm a chartered accountant, company secretary in LLB. And in this video, we will be discussing the summary of assessment procedure. The first section to be discussed is section 142, subsection 1, which is inquiry before assessment. The assessing officer does the inquiry before the assessment under section 142, subsection 1. Section 142, subsection 1, clause 1. Section 142, subsection 1, clause 1. The notice under this section, under this section can be issued if the assessee has not filed his return under section 139, subsection 1. If the assessee has not filed his return under section 139, subsection 1, the assessing officer can issue a notice to him under section 142, subsection 1, clause 1 to file the return of income. So section 142, subsection 1 has two parts. The first part being section 142, subsection 1, clause 1, and the second part being clause 2. Clause 1 talks about the return of income. If the assessee has not filed his return of income under section 139, subsection 1, the assessing officer can issue a notice under clause 1 and ask the assessee to file the return. So in clause 1, what is the assessing officer doing? The assessing officer is asking the assessee to file the return of income. Now coming to the clause 2, section 142, subsection 1, clause 2. Now the assessing officer, for the purpose of making an assessment, can ask the assessee two information. First information is what? To produce the books and documents. The assessing officer can ask the assessee to produce the books of accounts and documents, or he can ask the assessee to produce assets and liabilities information. First clause, what did we talk? We talked about the assessing officer asking the assessee to file the return of income. In clause 2, we are talking about the assessing officer asking the assessee to provide books and other documents. Second, the assessing officer is asking the assessee to provide the assets and liabilities information. So in total in this section, the assessing officer is asking for three things. In the clause 1, the assessing officer is asking the assessee to file the return. In clause 2, the assessing officer is asking the assessee to provide books and other documents. In clause 2, the assessing officer is again asking the assessee to provide the information about the assets and liabilities. Now, regarding the books and documents information, this information can be asked for maximum 3 years prior to the relevant previous year. From the relevant previous year, maximum 3 years information of books of accounts and other documents can be asked by the assessing officer under this clause. Now coming to the assets and liabilities information, the assessing officer can ask for the assets and liabilities information which is contained in the books of accounts if he wants to ask the assessee for any information which is not contained in the books of accounts. Prior approval of Joint Commissioner is required. I repeat, in this section, section 142, subsection 1, there are two clauses, clause 1 and 2. Clause 1 talks about the assessing officer asking the assessee to file the return of income. In clause 2, there are two parts. First part is books and documents can be asked for the relevant previous year plus 3 years prior to the relevant previous year. Second, the assessing officer can ask for the assets and liabilities information from the assessee. The information of assets and liabilities should be contained in the books of accounts. If it is anything beyond the books of accounts, prior approval of Joint Commission is required. Now, generally, this notice of 142.1 clause 2 is combined with the assessment notice. So with the assessment notice, this notice of 142.1 clause 2 is attached. For example, section 143 subsection 3 plus 142.1 clause 2 can be combined, or 153A notice plus 142.1.2 can be combined. So this notice of clause 2 can be combined with the assessment notice. Normally, the assessing officer, while issuing the notice for the assessment, issues 142.1.2 also. Now, this notice of 142.1.2 can be issued whether or not the assessee has filed his return of income. So that is all about section 142 subsection 1. I'll do a quick recap of it. Section 142 subsection 1 is the enquiry before assessment. Section 142 subsection 1 is the enquiry before assessment. There are two clauses in it, clause 1 and clause 2. In clause 1, the assessing officer can ask the assessee to file the return of income. In clause 2, there are two parts. First part is that the assessing officer can ask the assessee to provide the books and other documents of relevant previous year plus three previous years from the relevant previous year. Second part, the assessing officer can ask the assessee to provide the information relating to assets and liabilities which is contained in the books of account. If he wants to ask the assessee about the assets and liabilities information apart from books of accounts, prior approval of JC is required. This notice of section 142.1.2 is generally combined with the assessment notice. Example 143.3 plus 142.1.2 or 153A plus 142.1.2. And this notice can be issued whether or not the assessee has filed the return of income. So that's it for section 142 subsection 1. In other videos, we'll be discussing the other sections of assessment procedure. I hope that you like this video. If you did like this video, click on the like button. If you have any queries, you can mention them as a comment below, and do share it with your friends and relatives. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, click on the subscribe button, which is in red color, and click on the bell icon, which is just beside the subscribe button, so that you are notified whenever we upload new videos. Thank you for watching.